Alrighty, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another CYPRX video breakdown. In today's video, we're going to be discussing some DXY price action that is currently playing out, sent to the CYPRX students well in advance. We're also going to be going over some interesting fundamentals. I truly believe that the individuals that keep their head down and pay attention to the long-term vision will be the ones that truly survive through all of this fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the cryptocurrency market surrounding some interesting articles that have just recently developed. We're going to get into all that in today's video breakdown. Make sure that if you enjoy these breakdowns, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. We do appreciate the love and the support, and it does help boost the algorithm. With that being said, we're going to first take your attention over to our private group chat, talking about the DXY price that we're currently seeing in the markets as of today. And I said to the CYPRX students back on the 5th of February, as always, being very transparent with the students as to what it is that I'm seeing in the market, I said to them, while the DXY is gaining strength, we have the potential to be patient and wait for discount prices again. With that being said, remember, lower prices are not guaranteed. However, if the DXY price action plays out, I will be looking to capitalize on some more discounted utility coin prices. We need the DXY to break above the 103.800 in order to see further discounted prices on altcoins. If this happens, I will patiently wait for the DXY to retest the blue area of interest before deploying more capital, because most likely if this price action plays out, altcoins will bleed some more. An update on my accumulation points, specifically talking about Hbar, Cspr, XDC, LCX, and XRP, which we went over in previous video breakdowns. So there's my screenshot that I sent to the students. And if we go over to the DXY now, we can in a way potentially see that current price action playing out from the prediction that I made all the way back in February. Now, that's not to say that that price action is or is not going to come into fruition. This is, again, just me updating you guys, being transparent with what it is that we are potentially seeing play out here at CYPRX. So as of right now, you guys can see that psychological level 103.800 that we have conversely talked about multiple times in the past on some of our video breakdowns. If we come all the way up here to 103.800, that historical psychological level that I've gone over in the past with you guys, that every single time the DXY breaks above this psychological level, price action goes parabolic or it increases in value significantly. So what we are expecting to play out here on the DXY is for price to continuously make a series of higher highs and higher lows all the way up into this blue area before continuing its move back to the downside. With that being said, let's pay attention to this price action. This is, again, just me giving you guys a public update. Whereas the CYPRX students knew about this potential price action playing out all the way back in February. With that being said, moving over to some interesting fundamentals that have just recently developed. We saw this headline come out from the Daily Huddle: the financial giant Credit Suisse on the verge of collapse as a Bitcoin banking narrative takes hold. We know that there's a massive contagion spread in the market right now. With that being said, I cannot stress enough to do your personal research and protect yourselves out there.
What I'm seeing now is it's a blender of a lot of forces, because you have the psychological forces. The fear of missing out can also be the fear of getting burned. And depositors are wondering, do they trust their banks? And that's why you're seeing sell-offs at like First Republic or PacWest or even Wells Fargo or B of A today. You're seeing this massive bloodletting right now in the banking sector, the financial sector. But other things, remember, Powell was the same one who told us not long ago that this was transitory. Do we really trust Powell? But to your larger question, I mean, even Goldman Sachs now says, I don't expect a rate hike in March 22nd this month. We don't see it. Jeffrey Gundlach, don't even count on it. The question is, will a pause in rate hikes be followed by a pivot to more QE? And already the joke on Wall Street, already in less than 72 hours, this BTFP acronym, which is like TARP 2.0, Wall Street's just calling it buy the freaking pivot.
Buy the freaking pivot.
Because what they're expecting is Powell's going to have no choice now, because he has broken something. He has broken something. We did in 2018. We were raising rates all through 2018. We had that Christmas massacre. 2019, there was a pause. 2020 was unlimited QE. The question is that going to be credible anymore? Can we narrate that from DC to bail out banks at $1 trillion or $2 trillion level again, without just creating pitchforks in the streets? When their backs against the debt wall, they need negative rates. They need inflation to be higher than interest rates. They need to inflate away their debt. And that was.
Now, I'd like to just take a pause right there real fast in regards to those two video clips and everything that's going on in our financial sector. And for the longest time on the social media platforms of CYPRX, we've been warning you all. This came out from October of last year, 2 tweets that I just want to display to you guys where we told you guys that this was potentially on the verge of happening. I said on October 2nd, 2022 of last year, red alert, private pensions and government pensions are all underfunded. The liabilities exceed the assets. Major banks are about to go bust on a global scale. What do we see now? Credit Suisse, we see SVB, we see Silvergate, and there's most likely many more to come. Now, underneath of that, I said, just remember, specifically in regards to what this gentleman just said, talking about sovereign debt, he goes on to say, I remember I was telling everybody 4 to 5 months ago that we would see systematic failure and to get your money out of banks. Everyone just called me crazy, but now look at the headlines. Banks are on the verge of a major collapse. Moving on, later on in the month of October, 10/22/2022, I told you all, by 2027, you will see in certain countries the burning of banks, looting of supermarkets, and the destruction of our critical monetary infrastructure, all in an effort to secure transitory wealth. I went on to say, it is not time for the system reset quite yet. Again, I was saying this back to you all in October of last year. That's what people need to understand. The final phase of this grand bargain scheme is inflation to wipe out the real cost of global sovereign debt.
They need inflation to be higher than interest rates. They need to inflate away their debt.
2008, 2009 captured the banking system. However, the next financial crisis will be worse, in my personal opinion, than those financial crises combined. It goes on to say, massive banks like Credit Suisse are now on the brink as fears about the safety of the modern banking system spread around the world. We have been warning individuals for the longest time on the Twitter space, on the YouTube space, on the Rumble space, that this is potentially going to happen. If you guys don't follow us, make sure that you do so. We've been warning you guys about this since all the way back last year when I first started tweeting out about this. It goes on to say Credit Suisse shares have plummeted 25% in the last 24 hours amid the revelations that its largest shareholder, Saudi National Bank, has decided it will absolutely not prop up the troubled bank and inject more capital. This is massive, and in my personal opinion, it's not over yet. Okay, we have not seen the massive effect of the crumbling of our financial system just yet. I believe that there is more pain to come. With that knowledge in mind, make sure that you all are reacting accordingly. With that being said, we see articles like this come out. Bitcoin critic Nouriel Roubini blasts BTC amid US banking crisis and says crypto is a house of cards and it's collapsing. It goes on to say down here, just one of the interesting little snippets from this. It says, if you want to have safety of your wealth, the last place you want it is to be in crypto. I surely don't think that this individual, again, an older individual, looks like he's done his in-depth research on what's actually going on behind the scenes via our financial ecosystem and how it is being revolutionized by distributed ledger technology and blockchain tech. However, again, with this in mind, I want you all to really take into consideration assessing your risk properly. Make sure that if you are involving yourself in this cryptocurrency market space, you're properly assessing your risk. You're only playing around with money that you're willing to lose and go to zero if that's the case and worst case scenario plays out. However, I have a firm belief that this is all just a distraction, in my personal opinion, to shake retail traders out. I could be right. I could be wrong. You all need to move accordingly. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt is swarming the market right now. But real long-term investors understand that bear markets are the best times to capitalize on massive discounts and opportunities in this market that you will most likely never see again once this train leaves the station. Now, what's to say what cryptocurrency is going to survive long-term? That's obviously up to debate and speculation. None of us can properly predict that. We are all just market participants at the end of the day, potentially maybe even being utilized as institutionalized liquidity to prop up this market. Who knows, right? Move accordingly. I know what it is that I'm doing with my capital. Again, capital that I'm willing to deploy into this market. Best case scenario plays out and we're right about utility-driven assets and we see a massive increase in price long-term. Worst case scenario is I've already assessed my risk. I lose the couple of $1,000s that I have in my investment portfolio in this crypto space and I move on with my life, right? No emotional attachment. Moving on. The reason, again, why I'm saying FUD, you need to not pay attention to it, is because we see massive events like these events coming out in 2023 that we need to be paying attention and watching out for. And there are massive key players participating at each of these events, specifically digital assets and companies that we talk about on this space. We see top 10 crypto conferences to watch out for in 2023, some ongoing now and some happening later on this year. We see Blockchain Africa Conference, the Paris Blockchain Week Summit 2023, WOW Summit, Consensus 2023, Bitcoin 2023, 2023 Blockchance, NFT Europe Show, Singapore Token 249, Pacific Bitcoin Festival, and the 2023 Decentralized Conference. Interestingly enough, the majority of these conferences, we see speakers from Ripple, Hedera, or Cspr are the main ones that I've seen across the board operating at each of these events. For example, here is let's scroll up to the top of this. I believe this is the African conference. Yep, the Blockchain African conference, which is currently going on, started today, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it starts tomorrow, March 16th. We scroll down here. We see Ripple is a speaker at this conference. We see Brooke Entwistle. Who else do we see? We also see Andrew Whitworth, Policy Director, EMA at Ripple. You guys all know, if you've been following Ripple for quite some time, who Brooke Entwistle is. Moving on, we see the Paris Blockchain Week 2023. I believe this is coming out at the end of March, if I'm not mistaken. And we see Ripple, we see Hedera, we see Cspr. Like I said, these three main players are always most likely involved in the majority of these conferences across the board. We have some other big players in this space. You'll see like Visa, you'll see MasterCard at some of these events, which is very interesting to say the least, considering the fact that people are saying that crypto is dead. Yet we see these massive payment infrastructures, partaking in these events. Interesting, right? Another big one is going to be the WOW Summit. That one was very interesting. I believe Amazon is participating in this one. Yep, we see Amazon right here, another big, massive key player in this market. And then we also see the Consensus 2023 sponsors. We see, again, Hedera. We see the Stellar Development Foundation. We see Ripple. Moving on, another one, we see Token 2049, sponsorship opportunity partners and speakers. If we scroll down, again, we see Ripple. We see Cspr involved. So major opportunities across the board in 2023. I think that right now, via some of the pain points that are being expressed in the market surrounding all of these bank collapses, massive amounts of fear, obviously, of course, are going to dump into this space. In my personal opinion, the best bet for you as an investor in this market as of right now is to have a long-term vision and to understand in the manipulation and the way that the market moves, that in bear markets, fear, uncertainty, and doubt floods into the market, shakes retail investors out. That is when institutions come in that are going to be market participants in this space, and that's when they buy the dip and shoot prices up to new all-time highs, making retail traders chase that market price action. Keeping that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, move accordingly. I cannot stress enough to, assess your risk properly. That is the number one thing I can tell anybody to potentially take it upon themselves to do as market participants in this space. And with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video breakdown. Go check out some of these conferences later in the year, some even potentially taking place, like I said, March 16th through the 17th. So this is over the next 2 days. Do your research, okay? Check out what these individuals have to say at these conferences. Look for developments, look for major institutional players and major companies participating in the ecosystem. Even though there's all of this FUD in the market right now, I truly do believe that this will cease to exist in the next couple of years. Keep your head on straight and have a long-term vision. As always, blessings, be cognizant, be aware, and I'll see you guys in the next video breakdown.